Helicopter. Rana. Woyoy. Cali. Man, to burn up the herbs. We're gonna burn up. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody! Who has some soft tacos, some hard tacos today, some chili, some arroz con pollo? Like, what's up? Like, it's Cinco de Mayo vibes, everybody. Hope y'all enjoying y'all Wednesday. Hope everybody's enjoying their Mercury day. Just want to jump on here, get into some quick energies. I talk about this Pisces moon transit, talk about this Mercury in Gemini. Be more raw in the city. I am Roots. Coach Love Tree. Baby Face. Dish Baby 8. Lady SA. 4LMD in the building. Sissy. Taylor No Gang. What are you talking about? What about? We not jacking that Wiz Khalifa and all that. It's Taylor No Gang. But I'm not gang affiliated. I like what you doing over there with that name. Vanessa Vibe, 21. Natalia Carmel. Rossi Shoes. All right, y'all. That new moon in Taurus is around the corner. Okay? So everything we going through right now during Taurus season is helping us to understand, you know, what morals, what things we value that we gonna stand on once we go into Gemini season. This is what we figuring out the whole season, especially when it comes to career or relationships, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, on our way to this new moon, now we're dealing with a moon transiting Pisces transit, all right? Pisces is mutable water ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter dealing with our experience, wisdom, knowledge, how we expand, how we spiritually expand by the things we adventure, by the things we're taught, by the things we connect with others. We know the mutable signs are the most adaptable, most flexible signs in the zodiac. So when we look at Pisces, they're the most mutable and flexible when it comes to the emotions. They're the most mutable and adaptable when it comes to understanding how other people deal with the emotions, all right? They're the most mutable and adaptable when it comes to realigning how they deal with their emotions to complement another environment, another group, all right? Another pairing. So this is why Pisces could be some of the most compassionate, but, you know, could be too open-hearted. Pisces could be a little too open-hearted, okay? So, at the same time, that Pisces energy could lead to being too open-hearted to the point, you know, when Pisces get taken advantage of with the emotions, or when they realize their way of valuing somebody else's emotions, or dreams, or imagination, or outlook on things, once that's not reciprocated, then they could jump into some dark energies they damn self, all right? So, shout out to the Pisces, but we're dealing with one of the most psychic, intuitive signs in the zodiac. So with the moon transiting this Pisces energy while we got the sun in Taurus, okay, we dealing with energies where we're being influenced to take our creativity, to take our understanding of our subconscious, our emotions, and how we connect them with others, and see how does that play a part with what we working on, what we structuring, all right? Now we got Taurus fixed earth, and then we have Pisces mutable water. These two signs sextile each other. Okay, so they have somewhat of a harmonious relationship with each other. Water, earth. Water gives earth, you know, the ability to transform. We know earth is dealing with being grounded, stable, practical, all right? Being in the present, dealing with time, dealing with common sense. But when we have water come into play, it helps the water to feel, aka it helps water to connect some more, connect what it's working on some more. Helps water to transform what it's working on, okay? So a lot of times, you know, earth water signs could date each other, and in many different ways, the earth sign could provide some type of stability or could make a water sign feel secure, you know, could make it feel like regardless of how it deals with its emotions or what stresses it out in the world, when it comes home or comes to this earth sign, it's able to feel grounded. It's able to look towards practical solutions to things. If you have water and earth in your chart, As far as your sun and your moon, all right? If you have water and earth placements in your chart, as far as your sun, moon, and your rising, a lot of the times you try to practicalize your emotions. A lot of the times you're trying to be as realistic as possible how you deal with the emotions, okay? You know, you could look at somebody else that has some fire, or, you know, they let their water get expressed some more, and you might look at that like, I feel them, I understand that person. Especially if you got the moon and water and you are earth sun, you'll look at it like, I feel that person, I understand where that emotion may stem from, but I may not have expressed it, connected, or like, you know, pushed it out like that. I may have had a more practical, realistic way dealing with the emotions. So this is what this is showing us right now. We already dealing with, you know, the sun in Taurus, making us pay attention to what is making us pay attention to, which we've been going over this whole Taurus season when it comes to our self-worth, what we value, career endeavors, how we're structuring and organizing things, what we're choosing to get situated in that we value, whether it's a relationship that we really value, we want to continue to get situated in this, building forms of security, seeing how we could utilize our creative endeavors and what we have in the world to, you know, start seeing some growth in the physical realm. That's all Taurus energy. It's all Taurus energy. But with the moon in Pisces, we're understanding now we're going to be, because this is sextile. Once again, this is a harmonious alignment. Okay, so the moon is having a harmonious relationship with the sun. So it's like, yo, sun, I see what you over there working on in Taurus. I see you getting busy trying to figure out how you structuring things. I see you like pondering on how you could express more of what you value, your creative endeavors, in a realistic way, in a strategical way. I see you trying to navigate career. I see you trying to build some form of security. But the moon in Pisces is like, all right, let me add more creativity to that. Let me add more ideas to that. Let me add an influence for you to understand how other people may be dealing with that, for you to pick up on their creativity, because it's mutable. That's the thing about the mutable signs. They deal with exchange in some type of shape or form. They're going to deal with some type of exchange, because it's water. We dealing with exchange of knowledge and wisdom. Exchange of your creativity. Exchange of what you've experienced. These are things, water kicks you into the past as well. All right, water kicks you into the past as well. So we can get real reflective dealing with water energies. And a lot of things we could be reflecting on, since we got the sun in Taurus, could be a lot of things that we reflecting on that we experience dealing with what we, because one thing Pisces and Taurus both have in common is Venus. Venus is exalted in Pisces, so it loves to be there. We was just experiencing that early in the year during Pisces season. And then, you know, Venus is home in Taurus right now, and it rules Taurus. So that's one thing they both have in common, their value. And both of these can direct it. Venus also dealing with our love language. So this portion of the week is a huge influence on what we love, what we willing to Pisces is another sacrificial type energy, probably the most sacrificial type energy. So we realizing what we have to sacrifice for the things that we love, for the security that we want, for the form of stability that we want. Like, we trying to, that's the energy for this week. And yes, we'll get up in our feelings about it. Why? Because not only is the moon in water, motherfucking Mars is in water too. Y'all just be forgetting about Mars in Cancer, huh? Y'all just letting that shit go over. Y'all be forgetting Mars is, see, Canary Music, Samani. It's not me, it's you. I love that name. I ain't see you in here in a minute. What's good? It's not me, it's you. What's good? Where you been at? Beauty. What's going on, Beauty? Tay Butter Baby. So, Mars in Cancer. See, you got the moon that's dealing with connecting, understanding, responding. So we're doing that with Pisces energy. That's where the emotional vibe is at for this portion of the week as we head to this new moon in Taurus. But that Mars in Cancer, that's a boiling water. That's a boiling water. When Mars gets into water, that water is going to be boiling, whether it's in Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. It loves to be in Scorpio. If we got any Scorpios in here, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, so if we have any Mars and Scorpio people, y'all be having some boiling ass water. Y'all be having some intense emotions. Now, a lot of these emotions, based off your energies, may be behind the scenes. If you got Mars and water, period, a lot of your emotions may be things you keep behind the scenes. Mars and water people, you could be a You could have water sign. Your sun could be in Pisces, your moon could be in motherfucking Cancer. But if you got a Mars in Scorpio, if you have a Mars in one of them signs too, you're going to express emotion in extreme because you're influenced to deal with emotion. So there's going to be a lot of it there. But then the Mars placement going to make it hot. Going to make your emotion hot. But the thing is, once you jump into experiences where you pushed out so much of it, that starts to feel vulnerable. It starts to feel like you letting people have a one-up on your internal energies. So Mars and water signs don't like that, especially Mars and motherfucking Cancer and Scorpio. Pisces is more, oh, this is my shit. Why am I a Rasta, man? And I be having the twist. When I got the twisted, I be feeling like a Rasta. So I'm really in Rasta mode right now. But when we look at that Mars and Cancer energy, you know, people are being real selective, trying their best to be real selective right now how they deal with their emotions. Mars and Cancer is going to place a lot of us in situations, especially the cardinal signs, especially motherfucking Libras, Aries, and Capricorns, being pushed into a lot of scenarios right now where you want to release some emotion. You want to release some of that shit, but you ain't looking at it like it's logical, practical. You may want to connect some emotion right now. You may have a passion to connect to somebody, especially in a home environment, mend some things with people that you probably beefing with in a home environment or people you care about. But that shit is just like, damn, how I do that shit right now. It's hard to connect emotion with Mars and Cancer. So yeah, with the moon in motherfucking Pisces, it's trining Mars and Cancer. So it's creating opportunities to connect to what we passionate about, to express our passion and our intentions. When the moon makes contact with Mars, it inspires the emotional state, all right? It motivates the internal. Everything with the moon is dealing with the internals, and Mars is dealing with the internal as well, okay? Because it's your intentions. People don't know your intentions until you take some action. And then we see like, okay, that motherfucker must have had some intentions to do that. If he robbed the bank, he must have been planning that shit for a couple of weeks now. I don't think he just woke up this morning and thought he was just gonna rob this motherfucker. Unless life was really that hard, like damn. If you just wake up in the morning like, I'm gonna rob a motherfucking bank today, shit must really be going left for you to just have that thought early in the Aries hours, 6 to 8 a.m. But anyways, these are the vibes we dealing with right now, family. Like, you know, that Taurus sun, moon in Pisces transit, this whole Taurus season is about us dealing with our self-worth, dealing with what we could bring to the table to build, what tools we have to help structure and organize things. So when I see the moon in Pisces, you know, it taps you into way more emotion on how you're going to do things. Types you into way more of an internal, having way more internal conversations with yourself about how you about to act on things because you're feeling on it some more. Whenever the moon is transiting water, we gonna feel on some shit some more, all right? Now, Mercury is in Gemini. When I spoke about Mercury and Gemini a little bit earlier in the week, it's important to understand that, you know, this makes this portion of the spring season that we're heading into, which is pretty much the midpoint of the spring season, all right? We're halfway through Taurus season, which Taurus season is the fixed signs, the fixed portion of this spring season. So as we lead into the second half of the spring season, we got this Mercury and Gemini energy preparing us for more Gemini energies to come when Venus moves up in there, when the sun moves up in there. So this makes the springtime way more sociable, way more relatable. But what we're going to want to be relating is what we're working on, is what we value. We've been coming in contact, internalizing it, practicalizing it, structuring in our head what is it that we value, how we gonna work on it. But Mercury's in Gemini now, so the mind is geared towards connecting, communicating, relating it some more. A lot of people is just gonna be like, this Mercury and Gemini, I already see a lot of celebrities getting under fire and hot water for just expressing some individualized viewpoints. So you're gonna see Mercury, you're gonna see how the Mercury and Gemini plays out just through celebrities. You're gonna be seeing a lot of motherfuckers getting criticized based off how they express themselves, because when we look at Mercury, you know, when we look at Mercury, it's a real critical energy. It's real curious energy. So whatever house you have Mercury in, you're highly critical in that area. Okay, Geminis and Virgos that's ruled by Mercury, they some critical ass individuals. Like, you're not gonna date a Gemini and Virgo and them not notice a lot of things about how you communicate or express yourself. All right, very detail oriented individuals. So now that we got Mercury and Gemini, when it comes to our relationships, this is where criticism is gonna be at, with the people that you surrounding yourself with the person you connecting to, relating to. All right, person you dating right now. You about to be real critical of how you communicate and relate to others, how accessible you are to others. But at the same time, Mercury's home here. So it feels free to do what it wants to do when we're talking about communicating, relating. If you have Mercury in air, regardless if you have placements that entertains attention or likes to be in the spotlight or doesn't mind having, some type of sunlight hitting them, people being aware of their actions or whatnot. If you don't really have placements that make you deal with forms of vulnerability, expressing yourself in some type of shape or form, it don't matter. Mercury in air, y'all know how to articulate yourselves when it's time to articulate yourselves. Mercury in Aquarius, Gemini, or motherfucking Libra. All right, the mind is in air, so the mind is always having different thoughts. But see, when we talk about Gemini, Gemini is another demon when we talking about a lot of thoughts. Gemini is a whole nother demon. I'm a Libra, and I got a Libra stellium, so I got a lot of planets in the air sign. So I know all about overthinking and dealing with a lot of thoughts. I know a whole lot about taking a lot of action mentally, thinking you doing something and your ass ain't doing a goddamn thing. I know a whole lot about that. But when we look at motherfucking Mercury and Gemini, Gemini is mutable, so it's the most flexible and adaptable air sign. So when Mercury gets here, you pick up a bunch of details that you wasn't picking up on people, on things you communicated to other people in a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. You like, damn, I didn't realize me communicating like that. You start analyzing how you communicate, but it's mutable, so it's dealing with other people a lot of the times. It's dealing with you thinking about how other people think and communicate. So Mercury and Gemini will have you considering so much other thoughts, perspectives, and outlooks on things from others. The mind could be a lot of mental confusion around this time. So everything has its positive and negative. Yeah, Mercury brings some ideas, creativity to the house that you have Gemini in. Yeah, it helps you to have a way more deeper analytical eye on things in that house. But yeah, we might have some mental confusion right now too. Now, I just want to run through the houses real quick. When we look at, first of all, with the moon transit in Pisces, that energy is going to be influencing my mutable signs the most, all right? So when it comes to my Sagittariuses, when it comes to my Virgos, when it comes to my mutable air, when it comes to my Geminis, Geminis, Virgos, Sagittariuses. Y'all got to understand, y'all got to learn to feel a little bit more. Learn to be a little bit more understanding right now during this portion of the week, okay? Geminis, be careful of letting your mind take too much responsibility in situations that you should be understanding. You should be feeling where somebody else is coming from and learning how to adjust your emotional intention with your ideas and your thoughts in this portion of the week. Sagittarius, all right? We know your energy. You free-spirited. You gonna express what you feel like you know. All right? But you're dealing with fire. Fire could be futuristic. Could be ahead of itself. All right? Fire doesn't like to be restricted. So right now, Sagittarius, during this portion of the week, is more important to understand. Your creativity is more important to understand. All right? What is it that you're working on? That understanding energy is big when we get into Pisces. So this is just helping us to, prevent clashes with others during this time. Right now, Gemini, y'all could be in a situation, especially with Mercury and Gemini, where y'all connecting to others and y'all come off so super logical. Y'all coming off so inconsiderate of somebody else's emotions, especially because y'all don't like dealing with heavy emotions. So somebody start throwing heavy emotions at y'all start changing the subject. Y'all start texting somebody to call y'all, like, to call me right now, act like it's an emergency. Start texting your baby Baba. Yo, call me real quick. Say I gotta pick up the kids. That's a tight relationship with your baby mama if she could hold it down like that. But let me not give anybody no ideas. But that's what we're looking at right now, Gemini, with the Pisces moon transit. All right, y'all. Gotta learn to be understanding a little bit more of people's emotional states before you express certain things. Think a little bit more before you talk, especially right now, because y'all minds is stimulated on the daily 247. But with Mercury and Gemini and y'all shit, we gonna get to it to everybody's houses, but Gemini's in particular, you know, yeah, I want to get into the signs tomorrow, but Gemini in particular, y'all could be heavily critical of the self right now. If you a Gemini sun, moon, rising, could be heavily critical of self right now with Mercury and Gemini. So you got to learn, be careful of not, once again, I tweeted, don't overthink anything that hasn't played out in reality yet. That's one thing everybody got to understand right now. Mercury and Gemini have you think about all type of outcomes and shit that ain't even played out yet. It's like, all right, it's good to look out for that. It's good to keep a mental note on that, but let's handle what we got to handle right now in the present. So, and then my Virgos, this energy is opposite from you with the moon transit in Pisces right now. So y'all natural energies to deal with more practicality, structure, organization, being grounded, that earth, the present, all right? Y'all the most flexible earth sign though. So y'all know how to work with others. Y'all know how to learn from somebody else how to build some shit or gain more information on the shit you working on from somebody else's experience all day, every day. But when we get into Pisces energy, the moon is opposite. So you guys are learning to deal with more faith in what you're working in. You guys are going to have to learn to, going to be developing a lot of leap of faith ideas during this portion of the week, Virgos. So a lot of things that y'all working on, and y'all going to meet y'all got to be able to not entertain but what if, like, that energy, yeah, you got to negate that this week. And that's what y'all learning with the moon being opposite to y'all. So that's for the moon transits. Now, Mercury and Gemini through the houses. Let's start with my Gemini rises. All right, where my Gemini rises? Where my Gemini rises at? Gemini in the building. Gemini rises, all right. First house. Listen, man, Gemini in the first house. I'm going to run through these. I know I be saying that, family. I know some people be jumping out like, damn, boy, you still on the third house? God damn. These niggas is getting too much shine tonight. All right. So let's run through it. First house, Gemini risings. You got Gemini constellation in that first house. So by default, having Gemini in the first house, you attract a lot of people in your personal life. You deal with a lot of interactions with others in your personal life, even when you don't want to. You talk to yourself a whole lot with Gemini in the first house. People be you be in conversations talking to somebody. You talking to yourself. Think about what you about to express, all right? Real critical of yourself, Gemini in the first house. When you're Gemini rising, Virgo rising, got Mercury ruling the first house, real critical of your personal issues. Overthink on a lot of things that you dealing with the people, places, and things you connected to in your personal life, all right? But you intellectual, intelligent as hell. When it comes to people in your personal life, you be knowing more about their situations than they be knowing about themselves. This is why you a source of information when it comes to your personal life, Gemini rising. So Mercury transiting the first house is going to bring a lot of ideas, creativity, and different outlooks and perspectives on things, on personal issues going on in your life right now. So situations you feel like you need solutions to in your personal life, you're going to gain the idea. You're going to develop the ideas for them right now, transiting your first house. But as easy as you're going to develop them ideas is as easy as you're going to overthink what could work out in a negative way. Is it as easy as you could be real critical of yourself, thinking that I may not be capable for this right now, first house. So dumb ideas, we ain't dealing with dumb ideas right now. When them ideas come in your head, that's the power. This is how you gain the power of having quality thoughts, is which ones you choose to entertain. We all have positive and negative thoughts. We're all on a certain frequency vibration on a certain radio station where we're hearing certain songs, all right? I be on Hot 97, they be playing a lot of bullshit, so I be having to get in another station. So when I'm on that frequency, I be getting a lot of negative fucking tracks, negative thoughts. So you got to understand, when you in a vibe where you allow yourself to receive negative thoughts or allow yourself to entertain negative thoughts and emotions, and with that Mercury transit in the first house, there's going to be a lot of mental construction going on when it comes to the personal life. A whole lot of different ways to do things when it comes to your personal life right now. All right? You can be real expressive of things in your personal life right now. Mercury transit in your first house. Could really want to jump into communicating, relating things that you got going on personally right now. All right, be careful of your environment and the people that you're around doing this, making sure it's around people in your personal life that could complement this. Mercury in the first house, when it comes to your personal relationships right now, you about to see, gain more clarity and details about the communication, the communication between some people in your personal life, realizing that this person be withholding shit, all right? You already be critically analyzing people in your personal life and seeing what position they play in your personal life. When it comes to people, a Gemini rising will organize the fuck out of a motherfucker in their personal life. But right now, there's way more of a critical eye for that. But you guys, more than anybody, because you're an actual Gemini rising, got to be careful that you're not being overly critical of self. Allow yourself to develop and resonate with the positive ideas that play out as solutions for things in your personal life. Make a note of the positive ideas of things you could do in your personal life. And people are going to be communicating and criticizing you personally some more. Be careful of not taking things personally, but take it as constructive criticism if that's what it is. Because that's what's coming. That's what's coming for sure. Second house, Gemini in the second house. The second house is our value system. It plays out as a house that deals with monetary gains, how we build structure, how we build the sense of security in the physical realm. All right, the energies you got in your second house, you gonna value these shits. You got Venus in the second house, you value love. You value receiving love, having some form of comfort in your physical surroundings or what you do for career. You got motherfucking Leo in this house, you value your creative attributes. You value how you gonna express your goddamn self. You got fire in this house, you value how the fuck you express your goddamn self in some type of shape or form. All right, you got water in this house. You got water in the second house. You value how you deal with your emotions, or you have some form of emotional intent with what you're doing with career. It stems from something you experience emotionally with water in the second house. All right, we could play out many scenarios here, but you got Gemini in the second house. All right, what is this? This is my mother. This is my what's the name? This is my Cancer risings. No, excuse me, Taurus risings. It's my Taurus risings, Gemini in the third house, in the second house. All right. So Gemini in the second house, you're going to value relating. You're going to value your relationships, Taurus risings. Taurus risings could have real small circles because the people they connect to, they fit into a value system. They fit into somebody that I could build with structure with, or they into some shit that I'm personally into. Taurus risings already not that open personally. It's fixed earth. It's fixed earth. So Taurus's sun moon rises could be planted like a motherfucker. Could be grounded in what they feel and their perspectives and their outlooks and their emotions about things like a motherfucker. So when we put Gemini in the second house, this person is going to value their intellect. They're going to value the ability to exchange their ideas, communicate their ideas to the world in some type of shape or form. This person is going to value the information they have of what they're doing in career. So Mercury transit in the second house, this is where the mind is at now, all right? Once again, Mercury governs the mind. So with Mercury transit in the second house, your mind is on your value system right now. The people, places, and things that you value, the mind is strategizing and is heavily critiquing. What is it that you feel like you could creatively offer to the world? What is it you feel like you could do business-wise? What is it you're doing right now career-wise? This is all under a critical lens right now. All right, you're developing ways, you're going to be developing new ideas on how to interact these things as well, how to connect these things to other people as well. Gemini in that second house is already going to have certain resources amongst relationships. So you just having a house that's dealing with what you feel like you have to offer, your values, your creative attributes, your talents. You have an air in that house. You naturally manifest relationships, people that's connected with that energy. You're going to be starting to realize how you could utilize these relationships some more with Mercury in your second house. You're also going to be in a state, you guys getting real fucking critical of the people, places, and things that y'all value. And the negative thoughts could be looking at, this talent that you have, something that you have to offer, some information, some value to the world, a service, all right, some wisdom, And in some type of shape or form, you may be looking at it like this shit ain't, who gonna value this? I value this who, but I don't think other niggas gonna value this. You sure about that? That ain't how we thinking Taurus rises right now. Y'all already seeing what is it that y'all gotta all these planets in the first house. Y'all already dealing with a bunch of situations where y'all gain so much clarity on what y'all could personally utilize to structure, bring some organization to y'all personal life. You know, what is it y'all personally have to express to the world? So with Mercury transit in the second house with Gemini here, it's helping you to develop ideas, how to connect what is it that you creatively into and what you're working on. You don't want to fall into overthinking how things can't work, how much obstacles. Just come up with that plan or put things in order mentally in this house with Mercury in the second house, all right? But yeah, definitely mine is on super career influence here. Mind is really criticizing where's the support system. Okay, be careful on people that you look at as a support system. If they got something that they dealing with and you feel like they not there for you right now, Mercury will have you look a little too deep into it. Like, you gotta be understanding. So it could play out like that too. It'll play out like that in other houses too. So that's what we dealing with, Taurus rises. Now, third house. Aries rises. Gemini in the third house. So with Mercury in that third house right now, it's home. It's where it loves to be. This is where it's comfortable at. The third house is an air house, dealing with relationships, all right? Dealing with interaction. The third house is dealing with our familiar surroundings. It's dealing with our siblings, relatives, distant relatives. It's dealing with the people in our surroundings, our friends, our neighbors. Papi that made my bacon, egg, and cheese every morning before I went to school in high school. He a third house person. He not my personal friend. All right. He not a co-worker or something from my 11th house. His third house. Papi make my bacon, egg, and cheese, and I get my fruit punch in Arizona for high school every morning. You feel me? He know me. He see me grow up from middle school all the way to high school, and then he see me. I'm back in the neighborhood like, Papi, what you do? I'm like, yo, Papi, what's good with you? I see you keeping the store intact. Like, what's up? The cat not laying on the bread no more. We don't got cat laying on the bread no more. Like, y'all doing big things in here. Like, that's your third house, your familiar environment. So with Mercury transit in this house, a huge theme of the third house is what's familiar to you. Opposite from the third house is the ninth house. The ninth house is dealing with expansion, things outside of your horizons, experience, adventure, foreign culture, foreign land. So when we look at the third house, this is your familiar surroundings, which influence how you started to communicate and relate to others. So with Mercury here, the mind is starting to connect to all creative ideas, all habits that are familiar to you. You know, familiar friends, these things are back heavy on the mind, how you can use these things. When it comes to your familiar surroundings, you guys are going to be real critical. Your familiar surroundings right now. You in an environment you don't want to be in. You feel like you got to move. Feel like your space is cluttered, whichever one. I think them shits mean the same shit. But this is what you critiquing right now. This is what you may be dealing with some mental confusion right now with some familiar friends. You know, maybe some of your friendships right now, y'all got a little bit of bullshit going on, you know, within your familiar friends right now. That shit may be heavy on your mind. You got Mercury transit in the air house. Air house deals with people, relationships. So Mercury here, if you got this in your natal, your mind always be on things that's familiar to you. And sometimes you have to learn to think out the box. So with Mercury in the third house, it's helping you to clean up your surroundings. It's helping you to see what's in your familiar space that's playing out as blockages right now. You're gonna have a critical eye for them things. You're gonna want to connect to certain things that you're familiar with. You know, let's say certain things you used to get into that you started experiencing in your familiar neighborhood. You start learning how to a pastime. I don't know. You used to skateboard or some shit, and you don't skateboard no more. You start thinking like, damn, why don't be skateboarding no more? It's gonna make you want to jump into your creative endeavors, things that you used to do with Mercury transit in this third house. But highly critical of friends, highly critical of siblings, highly critical of your relationships, highly critical of the access that people have to you right now, and highly critical of what you of the people that think they familiar with you and they not. Yeah, these are the people where y'all will communicate some shit to right now. People that think they familiar with you. That could be something you feel like you got to nip in the bud with Mercury transit in the third house. All right. Fourth house, Pisces risings. All right. So we know the fourth house Fourth house dealing with family, home environment. Dealing with family, home environment. How we deal with emotional stability. You know, the people, places, and things we care about. What makes us feel comfortable. What makes us feel at home. Your fourth house, you may be raised in a certain, you may be raised by your parents, but your uncle house, your aunt house, your grandparents' house feel like home. That could be your fourth house. So fourth house is what feels at home to you. All right. How much points Tatum got? So, but overall is how we deal with emotional stability. Overall is how we deal with privacy and solitude. So with Mercury transit in the fourth house, you know, the mind is going to be heavy on the family home environment. The mind is going to be heavy on how you've been dealing with the emotions. It could be real critical how you've been dealing with the emotions. It could be real critical about what's in your private space right now, overthinking and trying to see how to strategize, analyze, how to, you know, manipulate your private space, get things out of it, cleanse your private space, your home environment right now. You know, the mind is going to want to... So it's over? Is it a hit? So with Mercury in this house, you know, you may be overthinking situations with family right now, overthinking situations with people you care about. The mind may want some solitude right now. The mind may want some solitude right now. So even though the Mercury's in Gemini and all of us are going to be mentally stimulated, thinking about something, overthinking about something, or dealing with mental confusion, everybody, in some type of shape or form. You're going to be overthinking or dealing with mental confusion by default with Mercury and Gemini. So the mental confusion is going to come in thinking about somebody you really care about. Overthinking when it comes to your emotions. All right? Overthinking the things you care about. I just said that. But the fourth house is everything that you emotionally connected to. All right? And what makes you feel comfortable. So you might get in a space right now. Y'all got to be careful, Gemini sliding into this house. I mean, Mercury sliding into the house. Because with Gemini here, Pisces rising, y'all already experience a lot of... Y'all could experience a lot of Pisces risings with Gemini in the fourth house. Y'all could experience a lot of hidden agendas, manipulation in the family home environment, a lot of gossip, a lot of critique in the family home environment, scattered energies, people just expressing what the fuck they want to express with Gemini here in the family home environment. Everybody thoughts just out in the open. Everything just out in the open here. It's air. Air gonna bring some openness. Air gonna bring access. Air gonna connect. Air gonna relate. So that's how your home environment be. All right, maybe a lot of open forms of communication here though. Like, you know, you friends with your parents type shit. Like you talk to your parents, like niggas be hearing you talk to your parents and get off the phone and be like, who that? I was like, that was my mom, that was my dad. You like, the fuck? I thought that was your homie or some shit. So it can play out like you got friends that's friends as parents. But Mercury here, you know, it's getting way more critical on how it's dealing with people that it's developed a real connection with. All right, it's getting way more critical about what you let into your private space, and you got to make sure you're not overthinking. All right, not saying we gonna overthink, but you got to make sure that you're not allowing yourself to overthink on certain emotions to that and end up experiencing manifesting situations or expanding on a situation that you have emotion in, but the way you thinking about it, like it could get deep with Mercury and water, because your mind is one thing when we're talking about manifesting, and when you add water into shit, it adds a vibration to your thoughts. And the more you do that, the more you make some shit out of that. So Mercury in the fourth house, you gotta be real conscious about your emotional state and how you thinking about it. As much as you can overthink about things people, places, and things you care about, your family and home environment right now, your surroundings in your private space, as quick as you can shift to a positive state of being, as quick as you could jump into a positive energy with the way you think about how you could strategize things to help you deal with the emotions, how you could rearrange your home, your space, or dive into certain things, habits, doing new things that you feel like will make you feel more fulfilled when it comes to how you deal with the emotions. And a lot of things may have to, once again, get cut off a little bit with Mercury coming here. It's gonna be things that you wasn't really thinking about, you wasn't really analyzing when it comes to what you emotionally connected to, and you're gonna see it now with Mercury sliding into this fourth house. Aquarius risings, fifth house. Gemini in the fifth house. All right, this is my placement. So when we look at Gemini in the fifth house, Gemini wants to interact, wants to connect, wants to relate. This is air. So when you put it in the fifth house, in some type of shape or form, this person is going to be influenced to deal with some interacting when it comes to their creative endeavors, to the things that they want to express. All right, you know, they like to learn from others when it comes to things that they creatively into. Wherever you got that Gemini, Sagittarius opposite axis falling into your chart, depending on your rising sign, the houses you have Gemini and Sagittarius in, you're gonna be learning a lot. You learn a lot in these houses. Sagittarius by default is spiritually inclined, is dealing with Jupiter experience, is going to bring expansions in time. It's going to bring expansion and time to what's going on in this house. But, and then Gemini is Mercury influence house. It's an interactive house, communicative house. So you're going to be informing people things. People going to be informing you things in this house. So with Gemini in the fifth house, you know, you have people critique your creative expression a lot. People may critique how you express yourself in positive and negative ways. All right, tell you how you could do something better, give you a lot of constructive criticism with your creativity, but we'll let you know, like, yo, that was dope. You need to do that some more. I think this will sound better. Boom, boom. So a lot of that when it comes to, you know, how you deal with forms of creativity and the relationships you develop here. Okay. Now, when we look at Mercury sliding into this house, Mercury's bringing new ideas and a whole new critical analysis to how you deal with your creative expression. You could overthink how you dealing with writing this book, or how you dealing with music right now. Learn to just do things that's flowing right now. You dealing with some creative endeavors, and you dealing with some writer's block. Shit ain't flowing right now. Mercury got you overthinking your creative expression. You know, come back to it. Come back, listen to another beat, listen to another song. Start writing about something like. You got to learn to work around it. Mercury's going to develop ideas on how you could strategize and do things differently with your creative endeavors. But as much as you're going to be able to have them thoughts, is the thoughts overthinking, being overly critical of how you express yourself to somebody else as well. Because this is a fire house. Fire house is dealing with expression. Mercury in a fire house could jump into a lot of energies expressing how they feel about shit. Mercury in water and Mercury in fire. And another thing, another thing for the motherfucking, another thing for Gemini in the fourth house from who that Pisces risings. I wish it was in the reading, but when I say your mind in the fourth house is the private space, so when Mercury comes into the fourth house, you may really feel like you need to be in a space to think you need to be in a private space to think. So your mind gravitating towards a private space may make your actions want to be in a more state of solitude right now with Mercury here. And it could be a little frustrating because it's Gemini. You're already dealing with Pisces risings. You already could be dealing with invasion of privacy within the home. Gemini's real curious. Siblings, relatives, parents real curious about your relationships, what you got going on in your motherfucking life outside of home. You know, be hard to get in your private space. So Mercury here could really want to develop ideas to jump into a space where they could just think for their damn selves. All right, so that's what's going on there. But yeah, Mercury in the fifth house, real critical about different ways of expressing yourself. Mercury here is gonna make you is gonna be influencing you to jump into some creative endeavors. Gonna be like, damn, I remember when I was writing music, a little boom boom back then. I need to get back in the studio, like, or I need a boom boom boom. Or Mercury's also gonna be developing ideas to want to get out, have fun, enjoy some of this spring energy right now. Fifth house, this the light house, this the fun house, this the creative house, this the Leo house. It's the Leo house. A lot of people with planets in the fifth house, they can't even stay still. A lot of people in the fifth house, a lot of planets in the fifth house. If you ain't got no Scorpio energies, you ain't got really a lot of Aquarius energies, if you ain't got no hard Saturn aspects anywhere, this person is out every weekend. Cinco de Mayo, yeah, in the crib, you bugging out. We out. I'm hitting the bar. They got the special. They got the Cinco de Mayo special in this spot. You bugging out. I'm out of here. Spring break, in the crib in spring break, you bugging out. New Year's, I'm going somewhere. New Year's, like I'm getting me a New Year's fit. Like we out fifth house energy. People with a lot of fifth house energy, it don't matter how old you are. You always gonna be connecting the children and the youth and being able to stay with the times and shit. All right. So Mercury sliding into this house is helping you develop all ideas to jump back into more creative endeavors. But you could be real for all my artists, creators, or you know, anything that needs your creative stimulation. Maybe you're working on something, you got to come at it with different creative ways. You know, Mercury could overthink certain things on how I was dealing with his creativity here, but it's also going to help you to see how to readjust things. So more so want to refrain from what you feel like you can't express, what you know, any incapabilities dealing with expression. Don't let the mind sink into that. All right. But and you're gonna be real critical of other people how they express themselves. Be careful not trying to be too heavy on trying to express to other people how they should be expressing themselves. I got this. I got Gemini in the 5th house. All right, I got Gemini in the 5th house, and more specifically, the house lord is in the 10th house. So I be telling my homies all day, every day, how to trying to organize and structure, give them some detail on how they could communicate their business, their brand, how they could do this, that, and the third. Maybe you express yourself this way, bro. That'll gain more traction to it. I'm the first one, Gemini in that 5th house. Just critiquing everything dealing with creativity, but you got to be able to handle the constructive criticism that comes your way. Mercury transit in that 5th house too, though. Everybody got to be able to deal with criticism wherever it's at. 6th house. When you got 6th house, deal with scheduling, routine, day-to-day routine, the workplace, career, all right? Whatever we may be working on in a routine, all right? Diet, regimen, health, fitness. People with a lot of planets in the 6th house, a lot of Virgo energies. Y'all be all up in the pharmacy department. Y'all be all up in the in healthcare. Y'all be all up in fitness. Y'all be trainers. Y'all be health gurus. Y'all be vegans. Y'all be helping people with their diets. Y'all be helping people with their regimens. Y'all studying different lifestyles, how they impact, you know, people's subconscious. It get deep if you got a lot of planets in the 6th house. You on an ongoing mission of understanding how schedule, how putting things in order, how the lifestyle you live, and how you allow that to build up in weeks, and years, and develop certain patterns, how that should affect your life. People with a lot of planets in the 6th house understand this, especially Mercury in the motherfucking 6th house. Why? Because Mercury's home here. Mercury love to be in this house, all right? You telling me I get to use my mind. This is what Mercury, you got Mercury sliding into your 6th house right now. Mercury's like, shit, you get to tell me I get to use my mind towards some shit for real, though? I get to schedule and deal with my regimen and shit, critique my own schedule and see what needs to be in it and outside of my schedule. And, you know, I get to develop more ideas on how I could work on things and career moves. And, woo, Mercury love to be in this house, all right? So when it comes to what you got in your schedule and what you routining, all type of new ideas, clarity, solutions on how to handle these things. Now, you got Gemini in this house. So Gemini resonates with this house because, in a way, it got Mercury influence, but it's really a square, actually. It's really a square. So Mercury helps it not to be that bad, all right? Gemini is birthed out of the 3rd house. So 3rd house square the 6th house. But this is what Gemini here is learning. Gemini is learning how to be more interactive with what it's working on, how to network, you know, communicate, relate what it's working on in this house. So when we got motherfucking Mercury sliding in here, yes, this could be a real networking time for you guys. This could be a time where you guys develop a whole bunch of ideas how you could include people into your schedule, or you could learn how to work with others right now who got the same you know, interest in what you're trying to work on, what you're trying to build and schedule. Way more new ideas and clarity how to deal with your schedule. You could be, this is the reason why Mercury is a great place to have Mercury at. Because wherever Mercury at is going to be curious and critical. So if you critical of your schedule, if you critical of what you routine and what you're working on, great place to be critical. Great motherfucking place. If you look at all the planets in their home places, these are the best places to have them because they get to do what they want to do without restriction. So Mars in the 1st house is home here. It gets to take all its passion and intention and place it into its personal life. Venus in the 2nd house, it gets to take all its value, all its love, how it wants to support, how it deals with appreciation, and put it into its value system, into what it wants to do for career and how it wants to build structure and security. Mercury in the 3rd house, we just spoke about that. It gets to take its mind, its thoughts, and interact it in its familiar surroundings. It gets to critique how other people communicate. It gets to critique what it became familiar with, all right? Moon in the 4th house, it gets to connect and understand its emotions, the family home environment. All right, the subconscious, develop emotional intelligence here, okay? It gets to connect to privacy and solitude. So this is why if you ain't jumping into no forms of privacy and solitude, you ain't never really gonna understand the journey of self-discovery with no solitude, no privacy, no circumstances where you diving into your own self-thought, being reflective, seeing how you feel about things. You ain't learning nothing about self. You ain't learning nothing about self, for real. You ain't learning nothing. So when you ain't learning nothing. But look at the planets all in its home places. It gets to do what it wants to do. So this helps us to understand our home placements. This is why if you got some planets that's home in a sign or a house, it could build frustration when that planet is not doing the things that it should be feeling comfortable doing. So if you got the sun in the 5th house, that's the next one. You got the sun in the 5th house. All right? The 5th house deals with creative expression. The 5th house deals with what you're putting on the stage, what you putting spotlight on. All right? How you deal with the spotlight. All right? How you deal with forms of entertainment. What you like to be entertained by, or how you like to entertain others. So if you got the sun in this house, shit, you better feel comfortable dealing with some form of creative expression. Sun in this 5th house, you may have some alignments and squares and whatnot, but in some type of shape or form, this is the lifetime to get active with your creative expression. This is the time to get active with your fashion, get active with your music, get active with public speaking, get active with your form of entertaining others. Get active. So Mercury in the 6th house, it loves to be here. Takes all its critical analysis, schedule, work, career. Gets to take all its ideas, schedule, work, career, regimen. Mercury gets to analyze the effects that its schedule and routine has on itself, on its own well-being. All right? So, yeah, Mercury, if you guys is feeling out of whack, if you guys is feeling unbalanced, you feeling just scattered, Mercury about to help you get it together right now. Mercury about to help you get it together in this 6th house. You may manifest situations, and let's just jump into some negative, darker sides. Well, it ain't really negative. Let's jump into some more lessons that may come with Mercury in the 6th house. People may be telling you about yourself with your schedule. People may be telling you unorganized Mercury in 6th house. You may have to Mercury may have to manifest a person, place, or thing to let your ass know, let's get this shit in order. You waking up at this time every motherfucking day, or you just eating this, that, and the third every motherfucking day, or you not working on this every motherfucking day, or you spending time doing this every day when you could be doing this every day. Prepare to manifest that situation if you're not allowing yourself to align with the thoughts Mercury is bringing with how you can schedule and organize things in the 6th house, because that's what it's going to feel free doing, and it's up to you to restrict it or align with the positive ideas, thoughts, and ways that you could adjust career. Mercury transit here. Gemini's in the 6th house, so you got to learn how to take what you're organizing and working on and interact that more. You got to learn how to deal with relationships in career. If you got air and earth houses, you have to learn how to interact, network with others, connect with others, get known in the community, see what's popping, known in the community, make your brand flow more, whatever. Analyze what other people are doing in your industry if you got air in the earth houses. So, that's what we dealing with the motherfucking, what's that? The 6th house. All right? For my Aquarius risings. Now, for my Sagittarius risings. Excuse me, not my Sagittarius rising. Gemini in the 7th house. Yeah, for my Sag risings. So the 5th house, Gemini in the 5th house, that was Aquarius risings. 6th house was Capricorn risings. All right? Now, Sag risings. When we get into that Gemini in the 7th house, the lifestyle of a Sagittarius Gemini rising is some shit. Because let's look at it both ways. You got Gemini in the 1st house. You dealing with a whole bunch of personal interactions in the 1st house, experiencing that. And then you got Sagittarius in the 7th house. You got a whole bunch of people in the external realm taking you on other experiences. Let's flip it. Sagittarius in the 1st house. A whole bunch of personal experiences. You feel me? This is your reading too, bro. This is your reading right here. Sagittarius rising head ass. You got Sagittarius in the 1st house. You're experiencing all type of shit in your personal life. Niggas don't be believing you. All type of episodes. All type of crazy experiences. You learning a whole lot of things in your first life, manifesting people teaching you a lot of things in your first house. Then when you get into your 7th house, Gemini, it's all willy-nilly here. It's all type of relationships. You may not like restriction in them relationships. You may entertain all different types of relationships. Gemini in the 7th house is mutable air. Is the most flexible air sign in that house. Huh? I gotta check, but you're a Sag rising. You got it in the 7th. You may have another energy in there too, but you got that shit in there. So that's what you experience in your relationships. Relationships be fast as hell. Relationships can be fast as hell for Sagittarius, rising, Gemini in the 7th house. You can forget about some relationships, but to that person, you was a whole experience. To that person. To that person, you was everything. But once your homie brought him up, you like, oh shit, damn, I gotta check their Facebook, see what they up to. Like, I ain't think about them in a minute. I know Gemini, I know Sag rising, Gemini in the 7th house, going through having so much, getting lost in your relationships at time. You know so much people. It feel like there's people you forgot to connect to, or you missing birthdays and shit. Yeah. So Gemini in this house, by default as a Sagittarius rising, this just having Gemini in this house now is air. So you got air in the air house is gonna manifest a lot of knowing a lot of people. Depending on your sun moon is how it may come off. If people see you as somebody that know a lot of people or not. But air in them air houses is you go know a lot of people. Now Gemini here is showing you that you have to learn, to actually build a friend, build a mutual thought with somebody, build a mutual interest with somebody to establish a concrete relationship. That's what Gemini is teaching y'all Sagittarius risings here. Y'all can manifest so much relationship. Y'all can come off so relatable in the external realm. Y'all can manifest mad motherfucking opportunities just because y'all know people. Walking into doors because y'all know people, Gemini in the 7th house. Just because your homie knows somebody else all the time. So this starts to become a situation where you may entertain a little bit too much in your intimate life. And now it's hard to filter things. So you got to learn to have a friend in a relationship. Build a real connection with somebody up here intellectually in your relationship. All right. Now, Mercury up in here now. Mercury's up in here now. Okay. And Mercury's going retrograde on what? That's what I forgot to say in the beginning. Mercury's going retrograde on the 24th or the 26th. And then it's going retrograde May 24th, 26th. And then it's going back direct June 24th, 26th. It's some shit like that. All right. But when we look at Mercury getting to the 7th house, real critical about your relationships here. Real critical about your dating life right now. All right. You'll overthink that right now. You'll overthink your relationships. You'll overthink about the situation you're dealing with the person you're connecting to. Now your antennas is up though. See, that's the thing. You're overthinking it, but your antennas is up like a motherfucker. So you ain't, the person you dating, the person you connecting to, you ain't missing a word they saying. You realize that you gaining a whole lot of clarity about how they communicate, about how they relate. You wasn't seeing it before. Mercury in the 7th house is thinking, picking up on that shit now though. Could be curious about exes. Exes could get back on your mind right now. Wherever Mercury's transiting is where your mind gonna be at. So you got a Mercury in the 7th house Sagittarius rises. Y'all gotta make sure personal priorities is getting handled still, because y'all could be overthinking about other people in some of y'all relationships right now, and that could take away some attention from some personal priorities right now. Y'all gotta be careful of that right there too. All right, gonna be real critical of your relationship though right now. All right, you don't let it build into mental confusion with things that haven't played out in your relationship. Mercury in the 7th house. Don't let it play out. Don't burn your hand looking crazy with Mercury in the 7th house, trying to get something out of a conversation or try to get some information that's actually invading some personal space with the person you dealing with right now. Be careful of that. That'll cause a situation right now, Mercury transit in the 7th house. But your antennas is up. So you studying every move of your partner right now. If you just find yourself heavily critical right now in your relationship, who you dealing with, or your dating life, that's what it is. You got Mercury in the 7th house. Your antennas is just up. So don't let that gas you to make you think something is wrong or people holding things away from you right now because you're expecting that energy is expecting more interaction. So it's like, this is a point right now, you dating somebody and they wasn't even already a communicative person like that, and now you expecting them to communicate, relate a little bit more, give out more thoughts, ideas about things. Like, you gotta understand how that person communicates and relates. You gotta continue to understand their love language, you know. So don't let your thoughts or pre-assumption about things within your relationship burn a bridge or jump too far about things. Mercury in Gemini thinks very fucking fast. Geminis think like, Gemini's minds is just, they could be mentally unstable like a motherfucker. It's too much damn thoughts. It's too much different perspectives to look at something. It's too much different ways to communicate something. It may not feel like that for you. For a Gemini, that's how it feels for them. So with Mercury sliding into the 7th house, this is what we're looking at. Not being too overly critical when it comes to your relationships, who you dating, who you connecting to on a one-on-one level. You feel me? You could be real highly critical about the insecurities you have in your relationship right now. That's another one. That's another one. If you're in a relationship right now, things is flowing, you know, maybe it's honeymoon stage or things is picking up, building up. Enjoy, ride that wave. Ride the positive, harmonious energies while staying alert with the red flags, things that make you uncomfortable. Ride that wave. This ain't the time to start questioning, you know, if this person sees you in this light. Y'all been dating? Y'all been connecting? Y'all been linking up? Y'all been communicating? Y'all been expressing things? All right? Now, if y'all haven't, this is going to jump you into wanting to have that exchange, to wanting to understand certain things, to wanting to have certain information. It's going to jump you into that. So you got to be wise with how you do that. You got to be wise with how you do it. Understand. See, that's the problem with people that's the problem with people at times. Yeah, communication is everything. But some people don't be knowing time and place for certain conversations. Certain people don't know how to engage in a conversation. Like, oh, I get it. I'm an air sign, whatever. It's not that easy for others. But sometimes you dealing with somebody that you connecting with. If you understand certain things make you vulnerable in a relationship, then it's kind of selfish for you to not consider what can make that person vulnerable, pushing a certain energy out, and not at least taking time to see how you're going to communicate things. Mercury and Gemini will have everybody wanting to just push out that natural first thought with no hesitation. Mercury in the 7th house, you got to be careful of that. It's the 7th house. You're dealing with connecting and balancing with others on a one-on-one level. So you may be manifesting situations to hear that critique about you in relationships or how you communicate or express yourself, and vice versa. You could be that same person that's pushing out some vulnerable energy on somebody else, or giving somebody that constructive criticism, giving your partner that constructive criticism that you need. It could just get a little spicy and mixy with Mercury in the 7th house. Maybe you get a little mixy, so you got to be wise on how you express it. All right? Mercury in the 8th house. Gemini in the 8th house. This is my what? This is my my Scorpio risings, all right? Wait. Sagittarius. Yeah, it's my Scorpio risings. So, shit get crazy, Gemini in that 8th house. Because the 8th house deals with the behind the scenes realm. The 8th house deals with our deep emotions, our secrets, all right? Our traumas, childhood wounds, transformations, sex, the occult, mysticism, which is nonverbal communication, all right? It's a spiritually inclined house. It's dealing with the vibes. It's a water house. So shit get deep in the 8th house. I think I say that every motherfucking reading when I get to the 8th house. I literally think I say that shit every fucking time I get to the 8th house. Shit get deep in the 8th house because that's just, I have no, spirit has no other way to convey that because that's just what it is. You got a lot of planets in the 8th house, you're a deep individual. It don't matter. I don't care how much Leo placements you got, Gemini, air sign placements, fire placements you got, your Mercury trine with your sun, and you got a lot of planets in there. You ain't really you ain't dealing with being in the spotlight. You ain't really dealing with being all out there. You got your sun and moon in the 8th house. That ain't your cup of tea. You a behind the scenes realm ass nigga. And you calculative too. So when we look at that 8th house Gemini here, things get a little, things get a little you an intuitive ass motherfucker with a lot of planets in this house. 5 placements in the 8th house. See, hold on, y'all. Let me put my charge on this motherfucker. You in I got you in Rasta mode, bro. Like that.
Rasta God.
So, when we look at 5 placements in the 8th house, Virgo 8th house, Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Ooh, you just like me. I got Virgo in the 8th house. With my Venus in the 8th. Woo, metal horse. I know what you're going through. The private relationship. Don't nobody know who you loving. It's just bringing that emotion to the surface and connecting that shit. That shit, Venus in the 8th in Virgo. That shit just too. I don't got Venus in Virgo. I got Venus in Libra, but that shit in the 8th house is like, damn, the love language. Every goddamn relationship intense. Nigga can't have just one walk in the park relationship. Like, I understand not every relationship lasts. I understand the experiences, but damn, can I just have one walk in the park relationship? Can I get into a motherfucking relationship and not leave that motherfucker a whole transformed individual out this motherfucker? I began into relationships and coming out with new religions. I wasn't into astrology in my last relationship. I'm an astrologer now. Look at that shit. That shit transforming, nigga. I'm just playing. But yeah, your love language get transformed with that energy. Hopefully we get into a Q&A if I can finish these, but Gemini in the 8th house should get a little mixy and crazy there because you got an air sign, probably arguably the most communicative air sign, and you got it in the house dealing with secrets. You got it in the house dealing with behind the scenes energy. So this is what this plays out. This is why you guys gain so much information about what's going on behind the scenes. This is why y'all manifest so much information about people that y'all are around that y'all didn't even want that shit. Y'all didn't even want that shit. Y'all manifest so much people. Gemini in the 8th house, mad people be trusting y'all with secrets. Mad people be telling y'all shit. You like, this motherfucker just made me an accomplice just telling me this shit. This motherfucker just got me involved. Like, I'm a whole third party now. Motherfuckers be, you gotta be the third person you gotta be the person to connect, to lie to your homie wife that y'all niggas was not at the fucking strip club last night. You gotta be the one to keep that secret. And now when shit transform, when their relationship transform and all that, 8th house shit come to the light, because 8th house shit gonna come to the light. When that shit come to the light, you know you getting a phone call. You know your wife getting no phone call now. Now your shit getting transformed. All right? So Gemini in the 8th house is crazy. Gemini in the 8th house is crazy. Yeah, that 8th house in Virgo shit, that's some... I don't want to get into that, man. Virgo in the 8th house get depressing. Because wherever the fuck Virgo at, you got to fucking work. Where the fuck Virgo at, you got to put shit in order. You got to structure. So you got that shit in the 8th house. You came into this lifetime. This is all type of construction work you got to do with the emotions. It's all type of motherfucking traumas, wounds, that you got to learn how to work them shits. You got to learn how to, all right, this can't stay a wound. This got to be a building block for something. All right, this can't stay, like, you got to learn how to use that. Pearl. So when we look at Gemini in that 8th house, that's what it manifests. A lot of behind the scenes relationships. You developing a lot of contacts with people. Your inner circle don't be knowing. Like, people that's close to you don't be knowing who you really be knowing. You know, attracting a lot of secrets, a lot of gossip energies, being in the middle of gossipy ass situations. But you picking up a whole lot on how people move behind the scenes realm, and take that into any facet. You learning how drug dealers move. You learning how people. You real studious when it comes to the occult. The 8th house already deal with mysticism, nonverbal communications. This is the Scorpio house. So this is why a lot of Scorpios, you got a lot of Scorpio energy. Or if you dating a Scorpio, this is why a lot of times you may connect to that Scorpio, you may express something, and they may not really respond a certain way, but they might just look at you. They might just look at you, and then over time you start realizing what that look mean. So they deal with that type of communication, like, when the Scorpio sun moon rising, bro, when a Scorpio sun moon rise and start dating people, or if they dating somebody and like the person can't deal with like subconscious energies, or when Scorpios feel like they gotta explain everything, oh man, you got this much time left. You got this much time left with the Scorpio. And the whole playlist went through. You got this much time left with the Scorpio. Cause it's like, come on, man. You can't pick up on certain vibes. So Mercury coming into the 8th house is about to bring critical analysis, ideas, all right? When it comes to, deeper emotions, deeper passions, intense motives you have about things. Situations that transform the emotions, you're about to dive into more critical thought about these things. Understanding why that happened, how that accumulated, how to prevent it, how to deal with the situation. The mind in any of the water houses is about to be Mercury in any of the water houses, transit in the water houses, is going to have their mind on some more internal energies during this transit, okay? And it could play out energies where you're going to only feel more comfortable dealing with people who could be more understanding, or communicating with people during this Mercury and Gemini transit, where people that you don't feel like you got to change the emotions to be around. Like, you could be having a fucked up day, but you could just come to their crib, light the blunt, and y'all just kick it, and they not just be talking about some whole other dumb shit. Mercury in the 4th house, Mercury in the water houses, especially the 4th house and the 8th house, is going to be dealing with them energies with Mercury and Gemini. You guys already attract dealing with a lot of people, a lot of interactions that deal with emotion, and learning how to communicate the emotion in water and the air houses, and understanding the emotion of others. So now it's like Mercury gets into this house. It's like, it starts thinking about the internal, starts thinking about the things that's transformed it some more. So it starts wanting to distance itself some more and jump into more private energies. That's what y'all gonna be dealing with Mercury transit in this house. Certain desires that you have, certain habits that you have, that may be playing out negative, maybe playing out as a detriment, all right? It's something you're overdoing, overindulging, because the 8th house deals with desires. That's what the mind is going to be on. How are we dealing with this situation? How are we dealing with this situation? All right? Trying to strategize how to deal with that. And it also depends where your spirit is at in the 8th house. Because if you have a spirit that's content with dealing with a certain desire or habit, then you're going to develop some strategies on how to connect to that some more. But if you know it's a habit or desire that you have that doesn't resonate with you, and it's something that you built it from your environment, or you realize in Mercury in the 8th house, you realizing you developed this trauma from or this habit from something that you was traumatized by, something that transformed you. Once again, the emotions. Mercury penetrates the thought to these things. Everything in the 8th house is deep. So if you got Mercury in the 8th house, Mercury in Scorpio, you're a deep thinker. All right, you penetrate thoughts sometimes a little deeper than shit should even be. Shit not even that deep, and you thinking about it that deep. That's how deep y'all think. Mercury in the 8th house, Mercury in Scorpio. Scorpio's motherfucking period. So with Mercury in the 8th house, you gotta expect, you to deal with that internal construction. Dealing with thinking about the emotions and seeing how gonna cultivate these things into more positive energies. This house deal with shared values. You're going to be understanding how the fact that you have this associate, or you're working with this person, or you're dating this person, you're going to get more clarity on what substance is really there to help you dealing with some things that you got passions and motives about too. Maybe your girlfriend, your boyfriend, you feel me? It could be she got some whole shit going on in her job. You trying to get your music career popping. She work with the best motherfucking engineer. They be in the same building. She don't know the motherfucker personally. You better get your girl to slide a little note in that nigga door or something. Shared values. 8th house deal with shared values. So Scorpio gonna know. This is why Scorpios can be manipulated like a motherfucker. But this is why Scorpios gonna know how to, on a positive note, know how to network and do a lot of shit without you even seeing them. And you're like, yo, how does Scorpio manifest all that? Oh, I grew up with that Scorpio, but like they just got a popping mixtape out of nowhere. Like I ain't never know the motherfuckers put it on music. Yeah, that's that 8th house. Shared values. They know how to connect themselves. Water deals with connection. But you gotta understand, this is how deep the 8th house and Scorpios are. They know how to connect behind the scenes. So think about all the shit that's in the water that you need a submarine to go see and experience. You can't just take anything to go that deep. So if you do go that deep, there's gonna be some shit you ain't never see. There's gonna be ways you're gonna have to learn to navigate. You got to learn. You got to learn how to even navigate being that deep under sea level. So this showing you that people don't naturally understand the stealth, the intuition that comes with that 8th house Scorpio energy. If you got a lot of planets in that house, or if you got a lot of Scorpio energies, man, it get that deep. So, with the mind penetrating all these things, things that you experienced that transformed you, your passions, motives, you can have real aggressive, passionate thoughts right now, all right? Real reserved and solitude thoughts, solitude-like thoughts. Just allow yourself to make sure y'all not jumping to too much, because you already got Gemini in this house, but now Mercury's up in here. You gotta make sure that you're not influenced to talk too much right now. If you got Gemini in this house and you got a lot of air signs, you probably real gossipy. You got your sun, moon, trine in your 8th house with Gemini in it. Probably real gossipy, and you super manifesting a lot of information behind the scenes. You super always getting put on to how these niggas is making money in your neighborhood. You super getting put on to how the niggas is bamming and scamming. You super getting put on to occult shit going on in your family that your grandparents is into spiritually that they try to keep away from you. It get deep in that motherfucker air in that 8th house. It get deep. All right. So that's how we're looking at that. All right. Now, 9th house, Gemini in the 9th house, my Libra risings. Okay. So, when it comes to the 9th house dealing with experiences, knowledge and wisdom, adventuring. All right. Faith, belief, education. This house is the education house. This house is called the house of enlightenment. This is where we develop perspectives about life through our experiences. This is where we experience things that's outside of our familiar surroundings. We expand our horizons in this house, internally or physically. Spiritually inclined house. So Gemini in this house, you're understanding and learning how to deal with interactions outside of your familiar surroundings. You Libra risings be manifesting situations where, Gemini in that house, you a lot of what becomes familiar to you is not even in your familiar surroundings. It's outside of you. Home became a prep school in middle school. Or your parents live in this neighborhood, but you stayed with your auntie and uncles a lot. So when you was really in the neighborhood with your parents, it's like you knew people there, but you ain't really know them because home became somewhere else. A lot of that shit going on with Gemini in the 9th house. And then understanding how to find the balance between bringing what you learned out there, the knowledge and wisdom and information you gained from different experiences, expanding horizon, and finding the balance with how to connect it to what is in your surroundings that you may not be that connected to. Your siblings you might be connected to, friends that don't get to experience what you got to experience, and seeing how to get them involved with things. That's a lot of shit Libra risings be going through. So when we look at, I did the 5th already. When we look at Mercury sliding into this house, Mercury don't really like to be in this house because this house dealing with faith, belief, intuition, spirituality, experiences, wisdom. Mercury dealing with the details, technical shit, organization, words, facts, numbers. So when it gets in this house, it's like, damn, it's hard. What the fuck I'm about to critique? What am I going to be able to get technical with? Everything is philosophical and spiritual in this house. So this is how this plays out. The mind is more on philosophical concepts. The mind is, critically analyzing things that it has experienced. All right. Gemini in this house, manifesting a lot of experiences, dealing with interaction with others, dealing with how to be flexible, understanding people from different backgrounds. And you learn that because, once again, you end up manifesting familiarity in things that's outside of your actual surroundings. So with Mercury here, you're understanding your relationships some more with Mercury transit in the 9th house, all right? But when I say you're understanding your relationships, you're understanding the why to how things connect, the why to more so why you experience something outside, and how the people that you are connected to, you were the source for them to gain this wisdom. Like Mercury taps you into that type of thought here, all right? You could be real critical of the things that's dealing with your spiritual path, real critical of certain past experiences right here. You don't want to be critical to the point where you start thinking about how you should have done things, all right? just let yourself be able to develop the ideas of what was supposed to be learned from that lesson. Because once again, Mercury just gets a little blurry here. Now, this is a fire house, but this house is dealing with expressing, and fire house is dealing with expression, but this house is dealing with expressing your knowledge and wisdom. So with Mercury here, you could jump into energies where you could be real communicative, expressive of your belief system. Be careful not jumping into any debates, trying to defend your knowledge and wisdom when it doesn't really matter right now. Okay, you could feel like people are being real critical of your belief system. With Gemini in this house, people could be real critical of your belief system. So Mercury could just turn this up a little bit during this transit. People being a little bit too much invasive in why you believe that, why you putting faith into this. You think that's going to work? People questioning and being critical of the things you are putting faith and belief to. Be careful of not feeling like you got to match that energy or letting people get under your skin. Mercury in the 9th house, all right? And then Mercury in this house is also gonna place you in the influence when Lauren, thank you, Lauren. I'm glad it resonates. Mercury in this house is also gonna place you in a situation where once again you could be critical about things that you feel like you should be knowing. At the same time, you could be gaining clarity about certain experiences in your life, and then you could flip on the negative side, being critical, feeling like you should be knowing more about certain things, and it could dive you into feeling like you got to learn certain things overnight when it comes to maybe something you're working on, a creative endeavor. So you got to be careful. Everything's a marathon. So that's why Mercury just gets a little struggle in this house. You got to learn how to get technical about what is putting faith and belief here. All right. You got to learn not to be so technical about shit dealing with spirituality and learning to let experiences in life play out the lesson. All right. To bring the understanding instead of you being too aggressive trying to dissect the understanding. But the mind is going to be spiritually inclined here. Mercury in Sagittarius, Mercury in 9th house people are open-minded people. All right. So boom. 10th house. Sagittarius. Gemini in the 10th house. The 10th house deal with our social status, career. It deals with how we gain foundation from how people know us. If somebody knows you, people know you for basketball a lot, start a basketball program. That's that 10th house shit, your reputation, or how you could rise to a status, how you could develop a reputation or build a brand, a business, how you present yourself to the world, the midheaven, the highest point of the chart. So when we got Gemini in here, what we dealing with? We dealing with Virgo risings? Yes. No. Yeah. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right. So, Mercury transit in the 10th house. This is my Gemini here. We got, my Virgo risings. So, So when we got, Virgo risings, you got mutable Earth, Mercury in the 1st house. So when it comes to your personality, when it comes to your personal outlook on things, it comes from a practical point of view. It comes from a strategical point of view. You're highly critical of people, places, and things in your personal life. So when we look at Gemini in the 10th house, this shows that you got to learn to be more interactive about the things that you are creatively into in your personal life, with your ability to personally structure. You got to find ways to make that work with the way you deal with others in career, with the way that you connect what you creatively into in career. I told y'all, air in the earth houses is going to have to learn how to deal with other people in career. You're going to have to learn how to develop relationships and understand when relationships mean something in career. That's a fruitful connection. That's a fruitful resource. You need to learn to work that, network that. All right. So Gemini in the 10th house is learning how to be more interactive when it comes to its the things that it's known for, its reputation. Okay. Virgo risings can manifest a lot of people telling them about things that they're already known for, because Gemini in the 10th house communicates it. All right. Communicates to it about its reputation. So Mercury sliding here, the mind is gravitating to more career-based things. The mind is also gravitating towards being more critically analyzing how you feel like you're broadcasted to the world. You're gonna be sizing up your own social status on when it comes to in a real critical way though. All right, being real detail oriented when you start thinking about how other people perceive you in the business world or perceive your social status in some type of shape or form. All right. Mercury transiting this house. I have this in my natal. I have Mercury in the 10th house in my natal. Okay, so the mind could be just real career driven, period. The mind could have so much ideas and mental focus towards career, it starts to neglect other things. So Mercury transit in this house is going to help you to understand how to pay more attention or add more thought into what you're doing career wise. You may have a creative idea for career, but you haven't been watering it mentally. Haven't been planning it out more. Mercury helps you to dissect things, to see more ways to add more planning, more of a blueprint, all right, to what is it. This house is the blueprint house, all right? So Mercury here, that's what it's trying to get detail oriented about. That's what it's trying to make sure it's getting some type of analysis about. How is sizing up career? How I could use this to build career right now? How I can make this transition to career? It's going to be pointing out things about career it didn't notice before, all right, whether it's positive or negative, and what you could feel like you could brand, what you feel like you could present, what you feel like you could tweak when it comes to your social status. Gemini in the 11th house, all right? The 11th house is dealing with public environment, air house, but people we don't know, the unknown and unfamiliar, all right? How we connect to others in the public environment, networking, associates, organizations, community work, social groups, technology, social media. So I like to say this is a house that networks with the 10th house is organizing and structuring. With Gemini in this house, you're already manifesting, learning how to deal with different groups in business, how to network and associate yourself with different other backgrounds, with people that's outside of what's familiar to you. All right, you may manifest a lot of relationships with people that have got nothing to do with your familiar backgrounds with Gemini here. Mercury sliding into this house, you're about to be critically analyzing your associates and the people you're around some more. When it comes to the people that you feel like, that you have to build with, that have resources, you're going to start trying to filter this some more. All right, you're going to start trying to get more detail oriented about what people you have to network with, what contacts you do have, developing more ideas to utilize your social media, utilize different forms of connection to connect your brain, what you creatively into the others right now. This is what the mind is heavy on. Now, this is a relationship house. This is the air house. So once again, when Mercury's in the air house, a lot of thought is going towards other people. So allow yourself not to let things that haven't played out with certain associates, all right, maybe working with somebody on something right now, you thinking about the negative outcomes of working with somebody. There's a lot of positive things to focus on. You may just started coming to a new environment, dealing with a new environment. So it's a 11 house environment, but you're trying to make it more familiar right now. Allow yourself to pick up more information about how things is done in that environment. Maybe some opportunities here, okay? But definitely a lot of new ideas on how to network and connect something to others that don't know you. Definitely a lot of new ideas to utilize forms of communication that have been in your mind, but you ain't really utilized it. You ain't utilized your Facebook for your online store. You ain't utilized, running this ad on that to network your brand and business to, people that don't know you or whatnot. Like Mercury coming up with ideas like that in this 11th house. All right. And then we got the 12th house, all right? Gemini in the 12th house. The 12th house is dealing with our imagination, our fantasies, the subconscious. This is the dream realm, all right? This is the yin realm. So when we look at the 12th house, it's dealing with our experiences, our intuition, our belief system, everything subconscious, karma, life after death. And Gemini here is going to be real, especially if you got air signs and especially if you got a sun and moon in Gemini in this house. You're going to be communicating a lot of things that's subconscious. Maybe just saying a lot of things that be on the subconscious. Don't even know you just be communicating it while you're thinking it. That deep. Really don't even be noticing. Everything in the 12th house falls into being subconscious. So, with Gemini here, gets into a lot of manifesting into a lot of situations, being able to relate its creativity to others, being able to relate things in its imagination, to jump into certain fantasies or illusions with others in many different types of ways. So I got to be careful not letting other people just influence it to jump into scenarios that look like it could be a dope adventure. It has potential to be something that is just have people selling dreams or selling ideas. It could come into a lot of different type of situations with other people in this 12th house with Gemini here, because you're jumping, manifesting so much relationships, having to be flexible relating to different individuals on a subconscious level. All right, but that Neptune Jupiter energy just makes things more misty, cloudy, or more fantasy like. So it could play on your pleasures. It could play on, you know, things that you're connected to. So Mercury in this house is getting more influence to take his thought and place it more into his creativity. You know, you could be real critical here about how you're dealing with your creativity and your imagination. You could be quick to develop negative ideas that you're incapable of dealing with anything that stimulates your imagination right now, what you're into in a creative way. You know, Mercury here could be real critical of his dreams right now. Probably a little bit wake up some dream recalling because the mind is around the dream realm. So it may, you know, start to actually pick up on certain things when it comes out the subconscious. But overall, you know, Mercury mind is on things that is dealing with developing ideas to implement things that's in the imagination into reality in all different types of shape or form. In all different type of shapes or form. You know, Gemini in this 12th house could imagines and daydreams on certain things dealing with connecting with certain groups or connecting an idea in certain types of ways. So Mercury here, when it comes to your business, when it comes to your brand, when it comes to your associates, you're going to gain more clarity on how you could take your creativity or things that you want to work into reality and connect that, network that some more with Mercury in this house. But, you know, this is a water house. This is a water house. This is one video, right? I missed the beginning. Yeah, one video. So with Mercury in the 12th house, the negative thoughts we don't want to fly on is being overly critical of how you could work your imagination or something that, you know, you'd be daydreaming or fantasizing about. You take the time to get Mercury to get more involved with that belief energy, because Mercury don't like to be in this house. It's debilitated in this house. This house, once again, dealing with faith, belief, spiritually inclined house. You know, philosophy, experiences, intuition. So Mercury got to learn to adjust thought with intuition. Learn to adjust thought with the imagination. That should be hard to do at sometimes, because you can have such a broad fucking imagination, but when you start trying to get technical about how you do things, it's so easy to see all the limits, blockages, and all that. Once you try to get quote unquote realistic about things, all right, quote unquote, when you have to start dealing with reality. So understanding how to make your mind adjust to things in your imagination, adjust to things that's on the emotions, that's helping you to get with this alignment right now. You will manifest people being critical of things dealing with your creativity. You may manifest people being critical of how you deal with the emotions. So you guys, it's a real important time to understand who you surround yourself with, what type of environments you're in. All right, guys, so I think I was on here for about good 2 strong, but at least we got through all the houses. If y'all missed it, came in late, this will be posted on YouTube and, you know, also posted on IG Tizzle and all that. All right, so thank y'all for sticking on and all that. Hope y'all enjoy this moon in Pisces transit. I'm gonna chit chatting with y'all tomorrow. All right, family, peace.